Drake May is currently playing to my right. It is Patriots, it is Giants, it is Monday Night Football. That is happening as I am speaking. They just kicked off. Welcome into the Swank Tank. It is Monday night, December 1st. Christmas is just around the corner. I'm still recovering from Thanksgiving and all of that food I ate. But what a time to be alive. What a time to be an NFL fan. Week 13, phenomenal. It was avoid the smoke week. Some teams did that. Some teams did not. We will touch on that more later. Full action-packed Monday night episode for you. Welcome into the show. Welcome into the Swank Tank. I'm your host, Ryan Swankowski. Thank you very much for being here. It is episode 26. Whether you're listening Monday night, late, after the New England game, whether you're listening Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, Wednesday, whenever it is, we appreciate you every single day for being here. If you're new here, welcome into the show. This thing's just getting started. We're growing surely. Not too slowly, a little slowly, but also surely. Welcome into the show. If you are not already, please subscribe to the YouTube, follow on the Spotify, leave some good reviews on there, interact, keep loving the videos we post on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. Those are the big three. Appreciate all the support as of late. Playoff time, just around the corner. What are we talking about on this episode, though? Monday night, December 1st. Lots. Week 13 brought a lot upon us. Playoff season is about a month away now. It starts to really creep up on you. It's like looking in the rearview mirror. Objects are closer than they may appear. That is the NFL playoffs. Lots to discuss on this episode. First thing we're going to do, we're going to break down the AFC playoff race. The AFC North, what is happening? The AFC South, what is happening? We're going to break down the whole AFC playoff picture and some big games coming up. After that, the Carolina Panthers get their biggest win of the year, maybe their biggest win in the past several years for Carolina. We're going to break down what they're doing right, maybe what a potential flaw is for them, and where they could go in the NFC. After that, the Chicago Bears on Monday night, December 1st, lead the NFC. They are your number one seed. We're going to get into what have they been doing correctly? Can they continue their success? After that, we're going to break down the NFL this year, its parity, how competitive it's been, why it's going to continue to get so competitive, and how their scheduling has set up one of the best NFL seasons we have seen in over 2 decades. All of that and so much more on this episode of the Swank Tank. As always, appreciate you. Without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, last week, we went 10-2 in our picks so far in Week 13. Again, Patriots and Giants playing to my right. Kickoff just happened. I'm expecting a New England win. I have them winning. We're 10-2 so far in Week 13 on straight-up game picks. That brings our record to 127-64 on the year. That is above 2/3. Oh, right at it, I guess. But if New England does indeed win, we are I'm not giving you that decimal. We're 2/3 correct on the season in straight up winners. We're so close to it. So close. I can already smell it. I can taste it. Week 14, we're hitting it. We're surpassing it. Week 13 brought a lot of chaos. It was avoid the smoke week. If you listened to the Friday episode, I called this slate of Week 13 avoiding the smoke. Some teams did that successfully. The Chargers taking care of the Raiders like they should. The Jaguars taking care of the Titans like they should. Other teams, not so much. In comparison to their betting line, Indianapolis Colts fall to the Houston Texans. The Carolina Panthers defeat the LA Rams. The Steelers fall to the Bills. Bills were favored in that game, but that was one of the best games supposed to be of the Week 13 slate, and it was absolutely not. It was dreadful, especially if you were a Steelers fan. If you're a Bills fan, you loved it. But the Steelers, we'll be talking about them here in a second. It was avoid the smoke week. Some teams did that, some teams not. The AFC as a whole now is unbelievably all over the place. You got the Broncos at this exact moment at the top. New England's going to win this game against the Giants, to my belief. They'll be back in the number one spot. But the parity and The carousel that is the 2025 AFC continues to spin. Let's get into this. Right now, again, I'm assuming the New England Patriots are going to take care of business. Right now, the playoffs in the AFC looks like this. New England Patriots are number 1, getting the first round bye. Broncos are the 2 seed. Jaguars are the 3 seed. Ravens are your 4. Then for the wild card, you have Chargers at 5, Colts at 6, and Bills at 7. The following 3 teams after that, in order: Houston, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. And it's close all over. Jaguars are leading their division by not even a game. The Ravens are leading their division by not even a game. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. And let's start here with the Steelers. Steelers now, they started 4-1. They now sit at 6-6. They were giving up 21 points per game those first 5 weeks. So they started 4-1. They started hot. In those first 5 weeks, they're giving up 21 points per game. Pretty good. Not crazy, but pretty good. Since then, they're giving up 26 points per game. They have the 6th least passing yards in the NFL and the 5th least rushing yards in the NFL through week 13. So, offensively throughout the season, they've really lacked an identity. Can they run the ball? Yeah, Warren, Gainwell, sure. Can they throw the ball with Aaron Rodgers, who's now really dinged up, playing through an injury? Not really. I mean, they're bottom 6 in both passing and rushing yards. Not what you would expect, maybe, from Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and, that's about it when it comes to their star players over there in Pittsburgh. Chaos. All morning, all I heard was Mike Tomlin's now going to be on a little bit of a hot seat. Is Mike Tomlin about to get fired? The Steelers on Sunday were chanting, "Fire Tomlin," in their own stadium while losing to the Buffalo Bills. We have and are talking about this because Mike Tomlin has been there, let me check my notes, 18 years. This is his 19th season. He's had 18 full seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has never, ever had a losing record with them. They've never had it under Mike Tomlin. Yet, they have not won a playoff game since 2016. We're getting close to a decade in Mike Tomlin's last playoff win. So, you can feel a little bit of that frustration in Pittsburgh. Alongside that, just those numbers at you. DK Metcalf, you get him in a major trade in the offseason. You give up a second-round pick for him. On top of that, you give him a 5-year, $150 million extension. Assuming and saying to the whole NFL, we believe this is a top 10 guy. He is going to be our top 10 guy for several years to come. Okay, he is a very solid player in Seattle. Obviously, he's a unit, a freak of an athlete. Can stretch the field tremendously for you. Can truck a guy over essentially whenever you want. He's a freak. But that's the problem when you go and get a guy like Metcalf and you go pay him the money you're paying him. You got to use him or else it's not going to really work out for you. Right? That's with any big player and any big-time money you give him. If you're paying a big-time player this type of money, you got to let him fly. Utilize him in his best way possible. But also just put the ball in his hands and let him make plays. The Steelers have not been able to do that successfully. Metcalf has 45 catches on the year, 605 yards, and 5 touchdowns through those 12 games. For quick math people, that is 50 yards per game. You cannot be paying your receiver $30 million a year with a lot of it guaranteed to only have him have 45 catches and 605 yards through 12 games. 50 yards per game by DJ Metcalf is unacceptable, especially with the way you're paying him. The Steelers, this is the oldest team in the NFL. Their next 5 games look like this. They're at the Ravens on Sunday. Obviously, tremendously big game. right? The telltale sign of, are they going to win the division or not? Yeah, they play later in the season as well. In the last week 18, this is the sign. If they can hang and maybe hold on to win the division or not. That's what this Sunday game is for them. Then they have the Dolphins and the Lions, both in their own building. Then they're at the Browns. They wrap up at home against the Ravens. Let me ask you, how does that stretch look for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because the way I'm looking at it, I see 3 games they could absolutely lose. And the Dolphins, we're going to talk about them here in a few minutes. Maybe not the easiest game. You see the Dolphins 5 weeks ago, you go, cakewalk. Maybe not anymore. The big point I'm getting at in talking about the Steelers this way is this team has no offensive identity and a very weak secondary, which is very uncharacteristic of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Their secondary, 6th most passing yards in the NFL given up. Offensively, like we touched on, what exactly are they trying to do? I asked this in the offseason. I was asking this, or at least thinking this, like in week 3, even with Rodgers and the way they were clicking, sort of. Air quotes around clicking. Because outside of Metcalf, who do they have to go and make plays for them? Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, those are serviceable backs. They can get you good yards and, can be good plays for you. They're not game changers. Your tight end committee, nobody is a game changer. Aaron Rodgers, no longer in the NFL, is a game changer. It's a fact. Their offense lacks identity. That defense in the secondary lacks the hard hitters you're used to them seeing or them having. You don't see it anymore from this Pittsburgh team in 2025. Should they fire Tomlin? My answer to you right now is no. Do I see the case for it? Yes. Mediocrity gets real annoying. Year after year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade. But continuing to go 9-8, 10-7 without any hardware to show for it, at some point you got to make a change. I'm not on that train yet. But for the people arguing it, I see your point. I absolutely see your point. I'm not there yet for the fire Tomlin chance. If, come Sunday, if they get the doors blown off them in Baltimore, could definitely see it being time. Time for a change. A complete culture change. But you've dug yourself into a bit of a hole with the way you've structured this team, their age, what you gave up for Metcalf, what you paid Metcalf. A lot of moving pieces potentially in the future for the Steelers. Sunday could quiet all of that. We'll have to see. On the flip side, let's talk about the Ravens here and their playoff race. They now lead the AFC North still. They lost it because they lost on Thanksgiving. Then the Steelers didn't take care of their business whatsoever. And the Ravens are back on top, sitting at 6-6 atop the AFC North. Imagine I told you back in July, the leader through 13 weeks in the NFL of the AFC North would be a team that is 6-6. The Bengals are, quote, alive still. Not to me, they're not. They're dead. They're done. Dead in the water. They have no shot. And they're 4-8. And I have to even bring that up. The fact that I even have to bring that up is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Let's talk about Lamar. Lamar isn't playing nearly up to par at all. He has 16 total touchdowns this year in 9 games played. Total touchdowns in 9 games played. 16 of them. Only one of them is rushing. He has 1 rushing touchdown on the year. That's not the Lamar Jackson I know. I understand injuries. Part of the game. But in 9 games played, you'd expect Lamar Jackson to probably have at least 3, maybe 4 rushing touchdowns. Swank, why are you bringing up Lamar's stats? I'm bringing up Lamar's stats because the freaking Baltimore Ravens are sitting at 500. Or sitting at potential playoff disappearance. Potentially not making it whatsoever. That would be a disaster for Baltimore. to not make the playoffs this year. Given their roster, given the talent they have, given the expectations put on them in the preseason, not only by the surrounding NFL media, by themselves. They hold themselves to a high standard. The Super Bowl caliber roster they have on paper. Right now, they have a lot of holes. Lamar Jackson's not a hole on that team, obviously, but he needs to be playing better. He has his lowest completion percentage currently over the past 3 seasons. Right now, Lamar Jackson's having his lowest completion percentage. Along with that, his lowest QBR in the past 4 seasons. Guys, the former MVP is really not playing up to his standard. He's not necessarily playing poor. He doesn't have a lot of interceptions. But he's definitely not playing up to standard. I mean, this guy's getting paid $52 million a year. And you see that last year, you go, he should be getting paid $60. This year, it just hasn't been up to par. Especially to me, especially on this show. I expect bigger and better from Lamar Jackson. And he's fully healthy now. There's no excuses at all. He has all of his weapons. They're all healthy. No excuses. And as a team, the Baltimore Ravens they're never complete. Even over their win streak, they were not complete. The offense still had not clicked. I thought maybe Thanksgiving was a chance for that to happen. It did not. It was the exact opposite of that. They had 5 turnovers against the Bengals. They completely shot themselves in the foot. But that's the team the Baltimore Ravens have been in 2025. 5 turnovers against the Bengals. In, other losses throughout the year, it's been their secondary getting chopped up. In a different loss, it's been the running game being completely inexistent on the defensive side of the ball. Their defensive front not being able to stop the run. It's a completely incomplete team. A little bit of a juxtaposition there, but you get what I'm going for. They haven't played a complete game, in my opinion, essentially all season long. You can equate that to injuries. Welcome to the NFL. We do not use injuries as a major excuse on this show. No. Obviously, if you're fighting for the Super Bowl and your star quarterback, Lamar Jackson-esque, Josh Allen-esque quarterbacks is out, obviously you can throw in a little injury excuse there. Not with this team, not with the expectation they had. Baltimore's next 5 games. Pittsburgh, they're at the Bengals. You get the Patriots in their own building in Baltimore. Then you're at Green Bay. Then you're at the Steelers. That is not easy whatsoever. Green Bay, New England, and the Steelers twice. That is not easy. That's very difficult, and for a team that has not clicked all season long. Dangerous, dangerous times for Baltimore. On the brink of missing the playoffs. We'll see. We touched on the Dolphins slightly. Let's spend a good 2 minutes on them here, and then we'll keep rolling forward. The Dolphins in the AFC are not out of it. They sit at 5-7, have won a good amount of their last few games. I believe they've won 4 of their last 5, if I'm not mistaken. They have, quote, I'm going to call it air quotes around this, momentum. Momentum. How would you define momentum? I don't know. Maybe you define it differently than I do. This team is not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're sitting at 5-7. And yeah, they've won a good amount of their last few games. But their defense is atrocious. It is so bad. I'm going to put this to rest right here, right now. The Miami Dolphins are not going anywhere. Their schedule is relatively easy down the stretch. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. They're not going anywhere. 9-8. Let's just say they go 9-8. Right? They're sitting at 5-7. Let's say they go 4-1 in the last 5 games. 9-8 is not going to get them in. Not with who they've lost to. A tiebreaker, non-division comes down to conference record. They've lost several AFC games already. 9-8 is not going to get you in. Maybe even regardless of tiebreakers. They play the Bucs and the Patriots and the Steelers still, by the way. So people have been looking at their schedule saying, oh my God, it's not that bad. I don't know exactly what they're seeing. The other two games are relatively easy. Bucks, Pats, Steelers, all three potential playoff teams Miami has to go through. You know, in one of these spots, they're going to implode, crumble, get blown out in one of these spots. Absolutely, the Miami Dolphins are playing better football, especially offensively. McDaniels has been in his bag a bit. He's rallied the team. They're improving. They're still so far away from being able to make a playoff push and even make the playoffs given overall their defense. I understand they're playing better, but their defense is just flat out not good enough and not consistent enough for them to pull off some miracle here. Just not happening. They got smoked by the Ravens a few weeks ago. The Ravens, as we have seen, are just a very incomplete team like I just touched on. Miami's not going anywhere. They're out. Let's touch on the AFC South. It is chaos. It is utter chaos in the AFC South. It was absolutely the Colts division to lose through 9 weeks. They have fumbled. The Jags now lead the division at 8-4. The Colts are also 8-4. The Jaguars currently have the tiebreaker over them. Then the Texans sit at 7-5 right behind them. I'll tell you what. I truly think at this point in the year, the Texans can win that division, which is crazy to think about given where they were 5 weeks ago. They've won 4 straight. Obviously, and like I just mentioned, they're sitting at 7-5 now. They started the year off 0-3. The offense looked atrocious. It still doesn't look great. It still does not look great. But that defense is already the best in the NFL. I think the Texans can do this. I really think they can. Let's compare the 5 games down the stretch for all 3 of these teams. They're neck and neck. They all have their issues. None of these teams are near perfect, of course. They all have their problems. Let's compare their last 5 games of the season, who they're going to play. Could the Colts miss the playoffs? Could the Jags miss the playoffs? Will Houston come out and win the division? Let's talk about this. The Jaguars, their last 5 games of the season. I can't believe we only got 6 weeks left, 5 weeks left, 4 weeks left, 14, 15, 16, 5 weeks left. And some teams haven't even had their bye yet. Jaguars, they have the Colts in Jacksonville. They have the Jets in Jacksonville. Then they go at Broncos, at Colts, the Titans in Jacksonville. Okay. The Colts are obviously at Jags, at Seahawks, 49ers in Indianapolis, Jaguars in Indianapolis, at Texans. So they play the Jags, Seahawks, 49ers, Jags again, and they're at Houston to end the season. Don't call me too crazy when I tell you this, or when I ask you this, I should say. Could the Indianapolis Colts lose all 5 of their last games? Realistically, they would not do that. They're too good of a team to do that. It's not out of the ballpark, not out of the realm of possibility, though. I mean, they're not going to lose to the Jags twice. There is a legit chance that they go 1-4 of these last 5. I mean, the 49ers and Seahawks, I would put right now very much in front of the Colts. The Texans just beat the Colts. Then that game's in Houston. Then you got the Jags twice. If they split with the Jags, there's a chance they lose the rest of those games. Just throwing that out there. Texans at Chiefs next week on Sunday Night Football. Huge. It's a monumental game for both of those teams. It's a can't lose, essentially, for both of those teams. It's a can't lose for Kansas City, or they're done. If Kansas City loses on Sunday, they're done. They'll be sitting at 6-7. They would be done. Texans need that win to continue to climb, not only in the AFC, but especially in their division. Huge game on Sunday Night Football. After that, they have the Cardinals in Houston. They have the Raiders in Houston. They're going to win both those. They're at the Chargers, big game. Colts in Houston to wrap up the season. Of the 3, Jaguars, Colts, Texans clearly have the, quote, easier schedule. This is the NFL. You never know. But the Cardinals and the Raiders are two teams the Texans should absolutely beat. For the other teams, the Jags and the Colts, they have much harder competition, the Colts especially. There is a world where the Indianapolis Colts don't even make the playoffs. They lose the division. They don't even make the playoffs or the wild card. There is a world where that could happen. Not out of that realm. Not out of that realm. It is chaos in the AFC. We'll see what's going to go down. This week is a huge, monumental week in terms of not only true record, not only in taking leads in divisions, but just momentum. We're getting to the point in the season where momentum truly matters. We're 5 weeks away from the end of the year. It's going down. It's getting crazy. This Sunday will be a big telltale sign for a lot of these teams. Let's see what happens. The Carolina Panthers are 7-6, a massive win for them this past Sunday over the LA Rams, over who were the number 1 seed, LA Rams. Let's touch on this win. Let's touch on the Panthers as a team this season, their inconsistencies, also their successes, what they rely on, what is their, quote, bread and butter that they want to continue to do and continue to succeed in as they move forward throughout the year in what they believe to be a playoff team, a playoff caliber team over there in Carolina. Let's break it down. The Panthers, in their wins, they're scoring a little bit over 25 points per game. They're giving up 17.8 points per game. So they have won 7 games. Carolina, in their wins, scoring a little bit over 25 points per game, giving up 17.8 points per game. Very respectable, great numbers on both sides there when they're winning. In their losses, the Carolina Panthers are scoring 11.6 points per game, and they're giving up 28.6 points per game. In their 6 losses, 11.6 scoring, 28.6 giving up. That is a complete parallel to their wins. Oh, of course it is, because they're losing those games, they're winning these games. It should not be that big of a swing. They're scoring 14 more points per game when they're winning, but they're giving up 11 more points per game when they're losing. These numbers blew off the screen to me. I found these numbers myself. So when I did, added them all up, put them together, blew me away. The Carolina, how are you scoring 11 points per game in your losses and 25 points per game in your wins? What do these numbers, what do they tell us? What do they mean? The Carolina Panthers might be the most inconsistent team in the NFL. They just might be. Because when you're scoring 25 and giving up just under 18, life's good. But then when you lose and you score on average in their losses, 11 points, and then you give up almost 29. The point here is that the Carolina Panthers, week in and week out, are a different team. Their objective and how they want to win the game remains consistent, but their result and the outcome and their product at the end of the game remains very much the opposite of that. They have a minus 50 point differential in the season, yet they have a winning record, 7-6. Got to give them some credit because they're finding ways to win in that's unorthodox to this Carolina Panthers team. The turnovers was their major factor in their win against the Rams. Got to Stafford, picked them off twice. Major fumble at the end of the game. Kind of came out of nowhere. Stafford had not been turning the ball over whatsoever this year. Carolina found a way. So you got to give them credit, right? They're sitting at 7-6. They're essentially tied in their division in the NFC South. They're in second right now due to tiebreakers, but they're both sitting at 7-6. Bucs and Panthers. Got to give this team credit for the way they fight. But some of these numbers are just unbelievable. Minus 50 point differential in the season, and they're sitting at 7-6. Let's talk about their offense. Their offense, as we know, is not great. The big thing is they rely on the run, right? That's what they do. They have the third most total rushing attempts in the NFL with 370. 370 rushing attempts, that is the third most in the NFL. Yet they only have 7 rushing touchdowns to go along with that. That's bottom 5. So they're rushing the ball at an extremely high rate. Top 3. But they're bottom 5 in rushing touchdowns. Interesting. Goes to show you even more how different this Panthers team is week in and week out. These numbers, I mean, they get crazier. Let's just keep going. Let's keep diving into it. By the way, if you're not already, please go ensure. Oh my gosh, I am just getting too excited over here talking about Bryce Young, Ted McMillan, and that offense. If you are not already, please make sure you are subscribed, you're following on all the socials. Would greatly appreciate it. Little mid-segment ad there. Defensively, for the Carolina Panthers, they are bottom 12 in both rushing yards given up and passing yards given up. And their turnover differential on the season, in classic 2025 Carolina Panther fashion, 0. There was 0 turnover differential. They have created as many turnovers as they've given up. They're bottom 12 defensively in both rush yards allowed and passing yards allowed. That means they're giving up a good amount of passing and rushing yards. Offensively, they run the ball at a high rate, but they don't punch it in with running the ball. These are the weirdest numbers I've seen from a winning team that has playoff aspirations all season long, 100%. Yet, I haven't gotten to the craziest one yet. The craziest stat of all. I mean, throwing a lot of numbers at you. The craziest one of them all, or the most important one. In their losses, in the Carolina Panthers' 6 losses, their leading rusher is averaging 48 yards. So of their 6 losses, you take their leading rusher, whether it's Hubbard, whether it's Dowdle. How many yards are they averaging in their losses? 48. The leading rusher is averaging 48 yards for the Carolina Panthers. In their wins, their leading rusher is averaging 114 yards. What does that tell you? When they can run the football the way they want to, they win the game. When the run game has to become inexistent, when they're trying to pound the rock with Dowdle or even Hubbard, and it's not there, they can't get it going, it's not successful whatsoever, you force Bryce Young to have to carry the offense of the Carolina Panthers. You force the Carolina Panthers to be fully one-dimensional in the air. That's when their losses happen. Mainly with the 2025 Panthers. They've beaten the teams, like they beat Green Bay, they just beat the Rams, who have elite run-stopping ability. Yet they were able to still run the ball, right? They won those games. Yet then they go and play a team like Buffalo, who has Swiss cheese for a defensive front. You can run all over those guys if you really want to. And they get blown out by Buffalo. So it's not like, okay, they're playing a top run defense, they're going to lose. That's not what I'm getting at. They're inconsistent in their results in the running game, but that doesn't necessarily mean or rely on the opposing team's defensive front. It's just how well can Carolina run the ball that given Sunday? Can they do it to their standard, above their standard? If they are, they're going to, as we've seen in 2025, they're going to win. Leading rusher averaging 114 yards in their wins. In their losses, 48 yards. Right? And like I just mentioned, they have beaten really good teams that have had really strong rushing defenses. So I'm not trying to say, oh, they play, the Texans, right? Let's just use an example there. They're not going to win the game. No, not what I'm saying. If they can't establish the run in that game how they want to, then they're probably not going to win it. That's what we've seen from the 2025 Carolina Panthers. And so if they can't run the ball how they want to, they're probably going to lose. That's what we've seen so far. The Bucs are in first right now, still in the NFC South. The Panthers are right there. But when you look at Tampa Bay, they have given up the 6th least rush yards in the NFL. The Panthers and the Bucs have yet to play each other. They're both sitting at 7-6 in the NFC South. We just went over for 10 minutes how Carolina's bread and butter is running the football to their ability. Don't care who they're lining up against, can, to their standard, run the football effectively. The Buccaneers stopped the run at a very high rate. They have not played yet. They're fighting for the NFC South. Mike Evans may be coming back for Tampa. Doesn't look great for Carolina. But if you told a Carolina Panthers fan they would be in this spot after 13 weeks, they would take that 10 out of 10 times for this season. Credit to the Panthers for finding a way to win when they need to, whether it's turnovers, whether it's Bryce Young throwing for 450. Kudos. But what we've seen so far from Carolina is that they need to establish their run in their wins. Let's see if they can do that down the stretch. It's going to be very interesting to watch. Hubbard got more involved this game than he has been in the past 10 weeks, essentially. Curious to see what that 1-2 punch looks like. Curious to see how Carolina plays after their bye. They have a bye week this week. After that, they have the Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks. Let me ask you, and we'll wrap up the segment with this. Can they make it? Can the Carolina Panthers make the playoffs in 2025? There's the Lions knocking on the door of the playoffs, the 49ers knocking on the door. The Panthers now go into a bye week, get some rest. They play at the Saints after that. Should be a win. Then they end Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks. And those are some pretty damn good rushing defenses. If you can't tell by my tone, I'm a little worried. A team that really doesn't have too much worries going on right now, at least inside Ben Johnson's locker room, the Chicago Bears. The Bears are your leader in the NFC. This is not AI. I'm not joking with you. This is not a fake video. You ever seen that Future video? This is an AI. Classic. Your Chicago Bears in 2025 through Week 13 lead the NFC with a 9-3 record. They would have a first-round bye. The Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, Romo Dunze, DeAndre Swift, Luther Burden, Kyle Monangai, Chicago Bears currently have the number 1 seed in the NFC. A few major stats to throw at you. They've won 5 straight. They have a plus 17 turnover differential. I'll restate that. The Chicago Bears in 2025 through Week 13 have a plus 17 turnover differential. The team in second, the Houston Texans, with a plus 9 turnover differential. Kind of mind-blowing. That's an 8 turnover differential difference when it comes between first and second Chicago and Houston. Shout out my boy Burns. Chicago, did you know? You did not know this one. Most likely. Unless you're a Bears fan, you probably did. Chicago is averaging the second most rush yards per game. I'll restate that for you one more time again. The Chicago Bears, the Bears in 2025 through Week 13 are averaging the second most rush yards per game in the NFL. This was an offensive line last year that couldn't block anybody. Have had problems with sacks year after year after year, really. But this year, second most rush yards per game so far. Incredible. It's a testament to the Bears, who they've brought in, who they've established themselves to be. It's a lot of credit to Ben Johnson. Let's keep diving into this. And here's the major point I want to get at. The Bears deserve credit. The Bears deserve credit, especially in a season like this. It's not, the NFC North's bad. They're the best division in football. It's not, there's a few really top dogs in the NFC, but outside of that, the league's not very competitive and there's a lot of really bad teams. No. Because every week this year in the NFL, you get a win, it's a testament to how good you are. It's a huge deal. The NFL, a win is a win. And this year of all years is one of the most competitive seasons we've ever seen in the NFL, from top to bottom. So yeah, maybe their schedule hasn't been the, quote, toughest of them all. They're beating the teams they need to beat, and this is not what the Chicago Bears have been doing for the past decade. They would be losing some of these games 100%. Earlier in the year, blocked field goals to win games, right? Closing teams out in a way they haven't in years past. It's a testament, and they deserve their credit. I don't think enough people are giving it to them. They're blown away by the fact that Chicago's number one, and all they want to do is tear them down. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to give the 2025 Chicago Bears credit because they freaking deserve it. And they've been winning for two main reasons: change of culture and offseason additions. Change of culture, what Ben Johnson has brought to this team. You see it every time they win in the locker room. The dynamic is completely different in Chicago, right? Compared to last year. Eberflus, you're losing really close games. You have a lot of major flaws. Rough all around in that locker room, in that city, when looking at the Chicago Bears. This year, you bring in Ben Johnson, you start 0-2. People go, oh no. What does Ben Johnson do? He figures out a damn way to find a win week in and week out. Guys, this team started 0-2. They gave up over 50 points to the Lions in week 2 after blowing the lead against P48 and the Vikings in week 1. What have they done since then? They've gone 8-1 in a season that, as I mentioned 30 seconds ago, is absolutely the most competitive season we've had in several years, from top to bottom in the NFL. Credit to Ben Johnson. What else did the Chicago Bears do? They addressed their biggest need in their offensive line. They got Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and Ozzie Trapilo. Hopefully I pronounced that one right. All four of those guys that I just mentioned, Joe, Drew, Jonah, and Ozzie, all four of them were not on the Chicago Bears last year. Ozzie is a rookie, second-round pick, I believe from Boston College, if I'm not mistaken. Those other three guys, they went out and got in free agent. Thuney, huge addition to that Chicago Bears offensive line. That's a testament to that run game, right? Second most rush yards on average per game in the entire NFL. That's not the old Chicago Bears, you remember, not of the past decade. They made the changes they needed to. They addressed them. Credit to Ryan Poles when it comes to that, who had been getting a little bit of hate, especially, last year not quite having the season you wanted. Credit to Ryan Poles. Credit to Ben Johnson. It's a testament to that organization this season, and it's a testament that they need to be getting more credit for what they did to get themselves to this spot. And I'm here to give it to them. They have a huge game this week at Green Bay. Unbelievably huge game. It's that time of the year, like we mentioned earlier in the episode. It's getting to be crunch time. We're a month away from the playoffs. All of these games for these top-tier teams matter greatly, especially when you go up against Green Bay, who's a half game back in the division. That tie is just ridiculous for Green Bay. Huge game this week for Chicago. I am nervous about them losing the division. I think, against Green Bay, and they have a tough stretch, down the road for Chicago closing out the year. Have to play the Lions again. The Bears can play. They can hang. They can win. I'm worried if they're going to close out the division. But this segment was to give them credit and, give light to what they did in the offseason. Now looking, in week 13, week 14, about to be, at how they got there. They made the correct moves. Not only in what we all knew to be the correct move with Ben Johnson, but also addressing the biggest need. Because other teams did not go do that. Other teams didn't reload. The Chicago Bears not only drafted well, they made the correct moves, especially with the offensive line. And it's a major credit to them. Let's see what the Bears can do down the stretch. It's going to be really interesting to watch. I am worried about it, especially with this game at Green Bay. Huge game. Biggest game in Chicago Bears in Chicago, I should say, in the past 5 years. We'll see. Essentially the past 5 years. We'll see. Getting into our last segment of this episode. If you have stayed around, stuck around, listening or watching, I appreciate you greatly. Make sure you're tapped in. Make sure you're following on all the socials. Make sure you're leaving that 5 stars, hopefully, on Spotify, and you're subscribing on YouTube. Really would appreciate it. Growing slowly, just chipping away, continuing to do, what we love here at the Swank Tank. What else do we love? We love when the NFL is competitive, and we've been loving this 2025 product they have given us. The NFL scheduling is absolutely genius, and their product this season has been nothing short of spectacular. Outside of the refs last week. Sorry, Colts fans. Sorry, guys. Outside of that, the scheduling has been phenomenal. It is phenomenal. The product has been spectacular and nothing short of it. This is not new, but Week 18 being complete divisional games is genius. Are you ready to hear the Week 18 games we are going to get? Again, this has kind of been a playoff look-ahead episode, given where we're at. I didn't want to do just, game recaps, bigger pictures, bigger storylines in this episode. This year, in Week 18 of the NFL season, so the NFL has always been very smart in their planning. They know what they're doing. They're not the College Football Playoff Committee. They're none of those people working over there right now where you got coaches leaving mid-season before playoff runs. I'm not getting into all that. Other people talk college football. I'm not here to do that, obviously. But the NFL and the way they run their organization, it's genius. So making Week 18 divisional weekend, like they always have done, has always been and is phenomenal. But when you look at this year's Week 18 especially, it's going to be, at least at this moment, incredible. Maybe unlike a Week 18 we've ever seen before. This year, in Week 18, we get the Colts at Texans. Very much could be for the AFC South. We have the Ravens at Steelers. Very much could be for the AFC North. We have the Seahawks at 49ers. Absolutely could be for the NFC West. Then we have the Panthers at Bucks. 1 billion% could be for the NFC South. And you got Lions at Bears. Very much could be for the NFC North. It does not get better than that. Are you kidding me with those matchups? 4 out of those 5, there's a high chance those games can decide between those two teams who wins their division. I haven't seen a Week 18 like that, maybe ever, and how much it means with the two teams playing against each other, flip-flopping in that one game alone, and they're playing against each other. Week 18 is going to be insane, completely insane. It is going to be must-watch TV. I will not be leaving my couch, maybe at all, starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll just be staying there, getting ready for all of these games. It's going to be incredible. Incredible. I mean, all of those could flip division winners. Seriously. And they're playing against each other. It's not like it's, the Jaguars do play the Titans, right? But it's not like Patriots, I think it's Patriots-Giants. That division is basically locked up, right? These games are against the opposing team that could take the division away from them. Incredible. It's cinema. There's the meme. Cinema. Plus, all the other rivalries just make this weekend even better. Week 18 is just going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. And there is a legit chance, really more for 7 out of the 8. Dallas, is alive still in the division with the way the Eagles have looked, but they're still roughly 2 games back, game and a half back. But there is a chance, a legit chance, that in 2025, all 8 division winners could be different than 2024. Can you believe that for a second? Take that in. There is a chance every single division winner in 2025 is different than the year prior. It's incredible. It's amazing. The product the NFL has given us so far in 2025 and what it definitely will continue to give us in 2025 is nothing short of spectacular. When was the last time there was this much parity in the NFL? We currently have in the NFL 20 teams of 500 or better. I'm going to restate that one more time because we're almost done with this episode, and this is one of the best points, maybe not only of the episode, of the show, when talking about NFL parity and consistency and just evenness across the league. 20 teams of the 32 in the NFL currently have a record of 500 or better. 20 of them. We're about to enter week 14. It's incredible. And it's been so fun to watch. It's been so fun to cover. But down the stretch, make sure you're following, make sure you're tapped into this show because the playoff episodes are going to be ridiculous. Unbelievably in-depth. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be can't miss television, can't miss podcasting. Make sure you're tuned in on all the socials and you're following there. The NFL, they're in such a great spot. Not only production-wise, not only from an evenness parity standpoint, but the way they are scheduling, they always have, always will, know what they're doing, but this year especially, it's just been heightened. It's been heightened. No episode on Thursday morning. I will be gone doing some other work stuff, which I'm very, very excited for. We'll be back next Monday. I'll be giving game picks on Friday on the socials. Stay tuned for that. We'll be picking my winners, of course. Stay tuned for the content this weekend, but there will be no Thursday morning episode. We'll be back next episode on Monday, normal and regular week next week, I promise you, with a Monday night and a Thursday morning episode. But stay tuned for those game picks on Friday and all the content from this episode throughout the week. I greatly appreciate you, as I've repeated, and as you know, have a great start to your week, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you're listening. Have a great rest of your week, great start to your week. Good luck to you in week 14 of your fantasy. Stay tuned on all the socials for all the good content. And for the next episode, we will see you next week. Have a good one.